Hi, my name is Ilya Burkov, team leader at the West LA Graduate Campus, Graduate Campus Tech Support at Pepperdine University. In the next few minutes, we'll be going over a brief overview of courses powered by Sakai. There are a few ways that you can access courses. The first way is by going to courses.pepperdine.edu. There is another way to get to courses. That is by navigating into wavenet.pepperdine.edu, logging in, going to Academic Resources, and then going to Courses Powered by Sakai. Let's assume that we've logged into Courses, as we have over here, and let's go over a few of the different portions of courses for accessing and navigating through courses. First, you'll see there's a Message Center, and this tells you about any notifications of any recent updates in any of the courses you're enrolled in. You also see announcements here, and so any announcements that have been made in the last, I think it is 10 days by default, will be listed here. Next, you see similar content to the page you saw when we weren't logged in, the 2 tutorials, as well as some frequently asked questions, like what to do if you don't see your class site. How do you access courses? How do you access a course? Well, you'll see on the top here that any courses you're enrolled in my case I'm enrolled in 2 courses this term, and on the left here you can see how to navigate to different tools within your course. So when you start in courses, whenever you log in, you start in My Workspace, and that's why you see messages from all of your courses or all of the sites you're enrolled in. They're also called sites. Now, if I wanted to go into a particular class, let's say I wanted to go into this finance course. I don't mind if you guys see my finance course. You'll see that the page has changed. And here is a display of the information in the course, any announcements, which there haven't been in 10 days, and any of the tools within the course that you may want to navigate to. So I think it would be better if we went into one of the specific courses when we go through courses. So let's go to More Sites and look for a course that may add us some value. Let's say Orientation and Tech Center. I think that's the best course we want to look at. Now, before we do that, you may notice that there are only 2 courses listed here. But when I went to More Sites, there are a lot more listed there. And the reason for that is because you can actually hide courses. You can show courses on your favorites bar at the top there, or you can completely hide them permanently unless you need them. And so there are 2 ways you can do that. You can go to View All Sites, which will show you every course you've ever been in, sorted by creation date or term or who created it, or filtered by the year and the term, let's say spring 2014, to classes I was in. Or if we go back to More Sites, and this is the way I would recommend it, we go to Preferences. And this is how you can actually change what courses you see. You'll notice the only 2 courses you see are the 2 I'm in this term, spring 15. And that makes sense because this is my favorite sites, the top bar. Now, when we go to More Sites, we see a lot more different sites. The reason for that is because they're active sites, but they're not favorite sites. And so when you go to More Sites, you're going to see your active sites here, as well as your favorite sites. And you'll notice it's split up by the term you're in: summer, spring, projects, and other. And your workspace will always be the other. Before I forget, you guys notice there are project sites here. What are project sites? I'm going to go over how to make one, but essentially a project site is your own bit of courses, your own course site. And basically, you can create your own site as a professor would, and you can do everything a professor would on an official course site. However, it's called a project site because you're not an official course at Pepperdine, and so there won't be a term associated with it. Now, the final bit of customizing your courses is archive sites. These are sites that won't be listed anywhere except under that first bit I went to, view all sites. And these are courses or project sites from days gone by, 2011, 12, 13. In your case, it may not go that far back, but these are courses you probably don't want to work with very often or may not want to ever look at again. However, they will remain here unless your professor hides the site for whatever reason. They may not want you to access materials or content from these courses. They will remain in your courses pretty much forever. Now, let's go to the course site that I was talking about, Orientation and Tech Center. And here, we're going to go over some of the tools, some of the common tools in courses. Now, as before, announcements for this particular course, the message center for specific messages or forums, which is another tool we'll go over, and any content for your course. This course site is unique because this one holds the tutorials, the sessions which will help you get acquainted with courses in particular, and a few other tools we may want to show you. But for now, let's go over some of these tools. Okay, so announcements is the first tool. You click on the announcements on the left and you'll see a particular announcement which was made over 10 days ago, so last year in this case. And these are some comments that your professors deem that you may want to know about certain expectations they have of you guys, of the students, and what you should know about some of the tools we offer from IT. Now, you guys can look through that at your own time. By the way, whenever you're in a tool, you can go back to the original page by clicking the reset button. It's these two blue arrows. And that will take you back to the main tool, the announcements page. Okay. The next tool I'd like to go over is the syllabus. It's the first thing you'll want to see in your class. Here's the syllabus, as well as some materials we're going to go over during this tutorial. By the way, you can print it up here if you want. It'll allow you to print it in a more friendly view. Of course, your assignments. There is a sample assignment here. I'm going to show you guys how to make a sample assignment. So here you have when it's open, when it's due in red. So make sure you do it by this date, and whether or not you've started it already. If you click on sample assignment, you will see certain information here, when it's due again, how many times you can submit it again, how many points, again if you've started it, how often you can resubmit it, meaning after this date you can't submit it again, and any instructions here, as well as any additional resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file here. I'm going to follow the instructions. Let's follow the steps. Basically change the name of the file to your last name and upload it. So let me do that on my end over here. Here it is. Okay, well, we've done the assignment. Let's go ahead and attach it. Go to Browse, go to Downloads, point it to the file. You guys on Windows, you're going to see a very similar thing. And you'll see your attachments has been uploaded. Now, pay specific attention to the bottom button here, Submit. Until you push Submit, no one will be able to see your assignment. Just adding it is not enough, so make sure you submit. Once you've submitted it, you're going to get an email with this information as proof that you've submitted it. So if there's any questions on whether or not you've submitted your assignment, this is your proof with an ID and the time it was submitted. Let's go back, reset button. There we go. It's been submitted 2/26 on the 26th. Tests and quizzes is where you guys will be eventually taking any tests and quizzes if your teacher creates any on your course site. Now, one key takeaway for courses is your teacher, professor, is the master of this course and any other courses that they have access to that they'll be teaching. What they choose to use in any of these tools, you guys will be using. And so, if you don't have tests and quizzes, your teacher may not have chosen to use tests and quizzes on courses. If you don't have any assignments, they may want you to turn them in printed. If they don't have sessions, they may not use sessions as a platform for you to participate in your class. It's up to your teacher. So if you have any questions on any tools or any assignments that may or may not be showing up, talk to your professor. Okay, so we've gone over submitting assignments, and now we want to talk about online discussions. There are many ways you can discuss, give your feedback on any of the content in your course with your colleagues, or discuss things with your professor, or classmates. What we're going to go over right now is the forums tool. If you click on forums, you'll see the forums tool. Now, if you guys may not know what a forum is, that's okay. What is a forum? Well, imagine you guys are sitting in class and you guys just watched a video and you guys have a discussion afterwards. Your teacher asks you questions about the video. You raise your hand, you give your feedback, and your colleague raises their hand and they agree or disagree with you and give their feedback. It's a discussion. That's what a forum is. Now, it's not a real-time discussion because we can go back in time and view this discussion, or in the future, we can look at the comments we've made and see what was discussed. And so, basically, it's not a real-time discussion. Now, when you go to a forum, you have the name of the forum and any topics for discussion. In this case, it's a leadership exercise. And then there is a quick overview of what it is. Let's review leadership. And if you want more detail, let's say this was an assignment for you. It's an exercise. You click on View Full Description. And here's that video I mentioned. Here are the instructions. Here is the content that you want to answer. And so basically this would be your teacher giving you questions. So if we click on leadership exercise, we're in our first topic of discussion in this forum, also called a subforum. Okay, so you'll notice in red here that you must post to this topic before you can view any messages. What that means is you will not be able to see other people's responses for your forum in this discussion until you add your own. Basically, until you add some feedback or start your own conversation, basically raise your hand and give your feedback, you won't be able to know what other people said. And that's to prevent you from, listening to someone's answer and just saying, I agree. They want you to give your honest feedback on what you thought without simply repeating what someone else said. And so, in order to get this to go away and to see what content is in this discussion, we want to go to Start a New Conversation. Now, the first thing you do is create a title, like a title for a paper. I'm going to call it Video Feedback. This was a good video. I learned a lot. Okay. Um, Now, I may not have answered the questions. You guys may have to forgive me. But basically, you would answer under view full description. Did you enjoy it? Did you learn something new? What do you find was missing? That's fine. Let's just do our first post here. This is a good video. I learned a lot. By the way, any other manipulation of your post is up here, similar to Word. And by the way, you can add attachments. So if you click Add Attachments, you can add an attachment from your computer or an attachment that is shared with you to the class, which is called a resource, which I'll go over next. But let's say I wanted to add a file. I don't know, this file is very relevant to this discussion. Let's say it's my sample document here on student tech orientation. Let's pretend it's valuable. Once we have it attached, again, click Continue, and there you go. Now, I also want to go over how to add a picture, because there are many ways you can add a picture to a discussion in a forum. So, the first way, first I'll have to get a picture. So let me go to google.com and grab a picture. Give me a second, guys. Picture. Just a random picture. There you go. 2 kittens. It's a good picture. Let's save this picture. Put it on downloads. Let's actually save 2 pictures. There's another kitten. Guess there are a lot of kittens on Google Images. All right, we've saved both pictures. So, first way we can add a picture is by adding an attachment. Go to Browse. Go to the first picture. You could add a picture that way. You could. That's one way. But more than likely, you want to show people the picture in your actual response. And so, how can we do that? If we look for the image button here, you'll notice that it's asking you to point it to some sort of image URL or website. This is where it gets a little complicated, because you either have to have the image ready to go on another website, posted on another website, or you have to add it on courses, which is what the Browse Server button does. Right here. Now, this is a particularly difficult way of adding pictures, but it is one of the only ways you can add a picture unless you want to add it to a website. Let me show you how to add it on a website, and then let me show you what we would do if we wanted to add this picture through Browse Server. So, let's say we wanted to add it to a website. The website that I use is imager.com. What you can do is upload an image, browse your computer, point it to that same picture that I attached. Click Start Upload. And here's your image. And so, if you take this link right here, go back, go to Images. Sorry, Images instead of Movie. And go to URL and enter this image. You're going to have your picture here. Pretty cool, right? You can make it smaller, whatever size you want. That is one way that you can add a picture. Okay, let's go over the other way. Remember that I mentioned you have your own little portion of Sakai. You can have a project site, or you can have your own workspace. For the time being, let's go to your workspace. Open it in another tab. Go to Home. And let me show you the Resources tool. I hate to jump around, but I have to show this to you guys before we add this picture. So resources are things that are shared with people in whatever course site you're in. This is shared with everybody in the course site. And so right now, I'm the only person in my workspace. Obviously, I cannot uh, share these resources with anybody else, nor do I need to. If I go to Add, Upload a File, click here and point it to the other picture, and then click Continue, I have just added that picture to my own workspace. Now if we go back to your forum post, we can click an image, browse the server, here it is, point it to my workspace, and select the picture I just uploaded, and there it is. Push OK, and there it is. Make it a little smaller, that might be a little big. Those are the different ways that you guys can add pictures into your forum post. Don't forget to make the pictures smaller. They take up a lot of space on whoever views this. So the first way is through a link on an image site like Imager. Second way is by adding it to your workspace under Resources. And you could, in the same way, add it to your own project site, which I'll go over as well shortly. Once you're ready with your discussion and your feedback, go ahead and click Post. And that's it. Everybody can see this post now. This will forever be immortalized in this leadership exercise under Orientation and Tech Center. And so anybody can click on video feedback and see what I posted. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So again, we have resources. As I went over in your project site, well, this is the resources for this orientation. And resources don't just have to be files. They can be links. So if I click on the tech handout, well, I have a tech handout here. That's very cool, right? And you'll see it open in Adobe Reader. Well, there are also links. These little globes here are links. And so if you wanted to install Flash again, you click on the Install Adobe Flash link, and it'll take you to that page I went over in the beginning of the tutorial. And so resources can be any files or links or anything that'll give you value in whatever course you're in. And of course, finally, gradebook, where your grades will be posted. Remember the sample assignment, it hasn't been graded yet. I don't have a grade yet. When it'll be graded, I'll get to see my grade for that assignment, my course grade eventually, and the course points, if my professor chooses to use these tools for grading. Okay, a few more things. Messages. I want to give you guys an example. But before I do, so you know, messages that you've received, sent, deleted or trashed, or ones you're in the process of writing that you haven't sent yet. If we, and by the way, you can make your own new folders. If we go to Compose Message, we can create a new message. Very similar to the forum tool. This is a little different. This is more like an email. But why would you choose this over an email? Because you don't know who's in your course. You don't know who's enrolled in it. You may not know the last name of somebody you want to contact. So if you go to 2 and click, you're going to see different people enrolled in your course. Pretty nifty, right? You also see anybody who maintains the course, which is usually the professors or the teacher's assistants. Anybody who accesses the course, which is people participating in the show, basically students, and all the participants, everybody in the course. So if you wanted to send a message just to John Buckingham and Lottie Shireen, or everybody in the class, you could select all participants, make it so that it sends a copy to everybody's email, and has a certain topic like important test. Now, the label has to be high. We recommend you to set it to high Why? Because people can turn off messages from courses. However, if the label is high, they will get it regardless. This ensures that you get the message. Testing. On second thought, let me pick on John Buckingham here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set the label to high, set a subject, set some kind of content. Let's make it bigger. And I'm going to add another attachment. Why not? From your computer or from a resource in the class. Let me add Adobe Connect Diagnostic Test. Why not? There it is. Continue. That's it. We can send a message to John Buckingham in this case with a resource. Always click Preview. This is what they're going to see when you send it to them. And click Send. You just sent your first message. And they get this emailed as well. Very useful. And again, it's going to be marked in Send. Okay. So, we've gone over accessing, navigating, and the layout of courses. We've gone over course materials and the different tools. We've gone over how to submit an assignment. We've gone over how to participate in an online discussion forum and how to add pictures, the different ways. And two more things. First, how to create your own project site. Okay, so let's say you wanted to play a professor and create a project site for one of your teams so that you can basically do everything a professor could with your team in one of your courses. What you could do is go to My Workspace. Obviously, you want to go to Home. And you want to go to Worksite Setup. You may remember Worksite Setup. We were here earlier under All Sites. What you can do is go to New. And what that'll allow you to do is create a project site. So Ilya's test site, number 473. Testing. Here we go. Fill out everything. Here you get to pick what kind of tools you want. Let's say we want forum and resources. Go ahead and continue. Make it a private site or everybody can see it. Make sure you only add people you want to see it and publish it. If you don't publish a site, people won't be able to see it even if you add them to it. Go ahead and click continue. Create the site. And in a minute, you're probably going to see the site up here. If you don't, just go back and refresh a page. Okay, we don't see it, so go to More Sites, and it has appeared under Projects. There it is, Ilya's test site, number 473. That is how you create your own course site. Now, I cannot go over the full scope of creating course sites because it requires you to understand everything a faculty member would need to understand when they create course sites. There is a lot to it. There's a lot to it. And so if you wanted to learn more about that, you can get help by going to My Workspace and clicking on the faculty tutorials. And there is a whole guide on everything you can do in courses that a faculty member would need to know, which you would need to know if you wanted to create your own project site as well. So you guys can look through that on your own time. And the last thing that we want to go over in courses is how to get help. So you may have noticed, I don't know if you guys did, let's go back to one of our course sites, the Orientation and Tech Center, that every single piece of courses has a little help button. I don't know if you noticed it. There's one here, here, and here. It's very nifty because if you have a question on any specific part of courses, no matter what it is, let's say about announcements, you can click on the Announcements help button. And here I'll move this over. It tells you all of the things you may want to know about that particular tool and any questions you may have, frequently asked questions. So if you wanted to have a question on forums, let's go back, reset. Here's the help button for forums. Let me move this over. Here it is. What is the forums? What are they? What is different terminology? Frequently asked questions. That is the first way you guys can get help. The second way you guys can get help is if you call our help desk, which is available 24/7, 365 days a year. The phone number is 1-866-767-8623. Toll free in the United States, and they'll be available to answer any questions you may have on courses.